Yeah, we are
So
good to go.
welcome to my good to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks. Yeah, welcome to session of the ICSS, the Indian Cloud Security Summit. It's a pleasure. My name is Siegfried Jagot. Basically, I'm a third-time speaker with the ICSS, and yeah, today I will talk about messaging security and provide you a deep dive into EOP, MDO, and other messaging security features. And this is part two of the session I held last year because we found it's a very important topic to keep it current and to make sure you understand the latest and greatest changes. Yeah. As I said, my name is Siegfried Jagot. I'm a Microsoft MVP for 13 years now. I work a lot in the messaging area. I started with Exchange back in 1997. And ever since I did messaging and M365, so I'm an identity and security expert here. And that's the reason for this session, of course. By the way, here you see my QR code to connect me on LinkedIn. Feel free to ask any questions either on the chat. I don't see the chat during the presentation, so it would be good to speak up at some point, or just send me an email whenever you feel, and I can provide you any answers that you need. Yeah. In my normal life, besides being an MVP and doing community work, I work as a CEO for my own company, Intelity. So we do a lot of consulting in the area of Microsoft. So we do, for example, identity and access management consulting. We do, of course, messaging. Yeah, a lot of carve outs or tenant to tenant migrations. And my subsidiary in Intelity Thailand also does Azure automation. However, let's jump into the messaging security. And this morning by Peter, you already heard the basics about EOP and MDO, but I hope that I just give a background before we jump into demos. This session is mainly not on slides, it's on demos. So I show you a lot of stuff. I show you all the stuff that's mentioned on here. Yeah, and this is the agenda. So we start off with a basic overview of Defender for Office 365. What is it? What clients do you need? And then we continue basically with the message trace versus threat explorer, followed by advanced hunting. So you see that's a lot of interesting topics. So we start at the basics, and advanced hunting is the top. So here you see the Office 365 or M365 security overview, basically. So it includes Exchange Online Protection, EOP, which is the basic protection, and it covers everything in your section. So if you run only EOP and you don't have an additional license for MDO, you're secure. You're protected by the Exchange Online operating system and Microsoft 365. However, if you want to investigate more or get more features and get deeper, then you should consider a Microsoft Defender for Office 365 plan. Yeah, and here you see basically EOP is protection and MDO is detect, investigate, and respond to security threats. Yeah. So Microsoft makes sure that your email system or your file system, well, and you heard this morning already that MDO is not only covered and does not only cover email, it also covers your files and your Teams chats, for example. So it's a full suite for your M365 data. Yeah, and you see if you want to do more investigation, you require a separate plan. So let's start with the EOP. Yeah, EOP features overview. Yeah, so EOP was basically when I remember back in the Exchange server times. Yeah, EOP was called Forefront Protection for Exchange. Yeah, and then moved into Exchange Online Protection. So that's basically the antivirus software that scans your emails and makes sure no spam, phishing, or malware enters your system. However, with the cloud and with Exchange Online, there's additional features. So features such as 0-hour auto purge. Yeah. So SAP was implemented, and that's a really neat feature because once in the past, when the email was passing your scanner, then it was delivered to the mailbox, and if the virus was detected later, it wasn't able to basically recap and research your mailbox and remove the virus. So ZAP basically does this. So if a virus is detected later, or if a phish or spam or a malicious file is detected later, basically it goes back to your mailbox and purchases. Yeah, pretty cool feature. Yeah. And here you see there's the features like messaging trace, audit log search. That's all the basic features of Exchange Online Protection that you get with any Exchange mailbox in Microsoft 365. I found a very nice picture how EOP works. So the basic thing is that EOP scans every inbound and outbound message. So no matter what you send or receive, it will be scanned by Exchange Online Protection and, of course, maybe processed by MDO. So here you see the mail flow. Basically, when an email from the internet enters the system, it hits the connection filtering. Yeah, and back in the EOP times, when you remember in the Exchange admin section in the admin console, you saw these filters. They're still there. Yeah. But first you hit the connection filter, and if the connection filter, and that's for example the IP-based filtering or the domain sending domain-based filtering, if that's okay, then it continues into the anti-malware filter, into the mail flow rules. That's the rules you define. Yeah, so you can interact with EOP by setting mail flow rules as well. And lastly, the content filtering. Content is really the content of the email, like scanning the attachments. Yeah. And if there's something happening, then the decision is either made, go to the right side, quarantine or junk mail, yeah, or whatever, move it to the recipient mailbox, yeah, if it's found clear. So when we look at everything like the EOP MDO filtering components, then it's getting more complex, let's say complex. So on the top, you see the edge protection. Edge protection basically is the denial of service protection. So network throttling, IP reputation. Yeah. There's directory-based edge filtering, which is based on that the recipient email must exist in your system, so an email can enter your Exchange environment. If somebody addresses an email that does not exist, caught by directory-based edge filtering and rejected by the system. So there's nothing like a catch-all email mailbox. So any emails that do not exist will be rejected. So when we go to sender intelligence, that's basically where the system checks if the sender is the sender he intends to be. Yeah. Features like Peter mentioned this morning, DMARC, DKIM, SPF. So that's very crucial in the system, of course, that you configure these. Yeah, but also mailbox intelligence or domain impersonation. Impersonation is a big problem because it basically you're like tricked by a visual letter that looks similar to the domain. Like here you see Microsoft with an 0 instead of an O, and that's of course the incorrect domain because somebody else might have registered it. And so that's the protection on the sender intelligence level. Content filtering is also very crucial. Content basically is the email itself. So here, of course, we have the traditional AV engines, so the antivirus engines. We have type blocking, so you just block any VBS, Visual Basic scripts or whatever. Yeah, but we also have the KI models, the machine learning models. We have the different areas, yeah, like the reputation blocking. Yeah, or the tuple, the tenant allow and block list, that's content filtering. Yeah, and the more advanced features that require an additional license are safe attachments and, for example, URL detonation, yeah, or linked content detonation. Yeah, so safe attachments and safe links is the key feature here of content filtering. Yeah, remember, save links is really where each and every link is replaced by a common link that points to a database inside Microsoft. And when a link is found malicious, it's just ticked in the database, and any email that already was delivered will just be blocking this URL because it was replaced or marked as malicious. And then there's the post-delivery protection. Post-delivery means that basically the email has been delivered to the email, to the mailbox of the user, or for example, the file was stored. Yeah, and of course, save links is mentioned here. Yeah, but we also have the zap features, phish, malware, and spam zap features. That's really cool. Yeah, we have the campaigns features. Yeah, which basically look at if there's an attack against your system. And we also have the other areas like Office clients and the SharePoint. So when I compare the plans, so EOP is included in everything. Yeah. Then we have Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 1, which is, for example, included in the E3 plan. Yeah. The E5 plan includes Plan 2, so the bigger one. So Plan 1, and that's the basic MDO plan, includes safe attachments and safe links. And whenever I talk to customers, I think safe attachments and safe links is really a must, because then you're fully protected in your environment. Yeah, because if you have safe attachments and safe links, you're good. There's so I never heard of a system that got attacked and broken by using EOP, including safe attachment and safe links. So Plan 2, when we get all, of course, the features of Plan 1, in Plan 2 we get additional features. And the most important additional features is advanced hunting in my case, because you really can dig deeper into your system. You can analyze threats, and you can analyze automatically things that happen in your system. Yeah, it includes, of course, Threat Explorer. Yeah, and the campaign feature. So let's have a quick demo on the difference between using EOP and MDO in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So the Admin Center, and I guess you already know where it is more or less. We have the Admin Center here in security. So you click in the M365 Admin Center on security, and then you enter the system. It takes a while. Defender is not the quickest tool in Microsoft 365, but it's very rich. It's very yeah. And when you enter the system, you have different drop downs here. And in this session, we cover email and collaboration, of course. Yeah. So in email and collaboration, we have our investigations. Yeah. We come to that later. That Threat Explorer. We have review campaigns. Yeah. If you're an E5, so an MDO Plan 2 customer, we have the threat tracker, yeah, message trace, and of course the policy and rules. And the policy and rules is basically where you configure all the stuff, or you can have a look at all this stuff. And Peter mentioned in his session this morning about the presets and the configuration analyzer. So this is really like the basic thing that you should do. Well, by setting up an tenant in Microsoft 365, you get the basic protection. So you get the best practices that Microsoft recommends for security setting in Microsoft Defender. Yeah. If you want to adjust it, this is the place to adjust that. Yeah. And you see you have the anti-phishing, anti-spam, anti-malware stuff here. So this is really like all the policies. You can configure the policies. You can configure special policies for special people, yeah, VIPs or whatever. So for example, you create a couple of different policies for anti-malware. Well, here I only have the defaults, yeah. But you can really dig very deeply in who receives what feature at what in what area. Yeah, so you can drill down. For example, create special policies for your development people. What's interesting, and I talk about this, is there's a new feature change that came recently to Microsoft Defender, and that's basically in the tuple, in the tenant allow block list, because in the previous times you only were you weren't able to add them. So here you can now add or block a specific domain. So you can add a domain and you can basically say, okay, up to 45 days, this domain is allowed, or this email address is allowed. And that's a whitelisting, so be careful about that. Whitelisting means it will pass the checks in the policies. Yeah, so if you add an email here and I know that email, I can pass almost any checks in the policy in the MDO threat investigation policies. So I can bypass this and inject malicious mails to you. The only thing that cannot be passed is the content filter. So you see that's pretty new. So let's switch back to our session. Yeah. So because this is messaging, I want to cover message trace versus threat explorer. So message trace is the traditional message trace from the Exchange admin center. So it shows you the way how an email flows through the system. Yeah. Threat Explorer, on the other side, shows you near real time. It's a real-time tool, and it shows you security operations. So it shows detections, it shows the emails and actions, yeah, and it provides you with additional details. So it's more to find, investigate, and remove malicious messages, whereas the message trace is more about, it shows you how the mail flew through the system and where it was either accepted or rejected. So Threat Explorer comes in two flavors. The one is, you see on the left-hand side, is plan 2, or you have, if you have on the one, only plan 1, then you see real-time detections. Yeah. So don't ask me why there's also Explorer. So if you have plan 2, you only see Explorer, and real-time detection is basically as a light version of the Threat Explorer. And as you see on the right-hand side, it covers malware, phish, and content malware, but it does not cover, for example, campaigns, URL links, and all mail. Yeah. So here you see it's basically a Threat Explorer Lite, and that's called real-time detections. So let me show you message trace and Threat Explorer. So the interesting thing is, so we are here in our tenant, and we are still in the area. Yeah. We have message trace. So Exchange message trace leads us to the admin center, Exchange admin center. And every Exchange admin in this session is absolutely familiar, of course, with this. Yeah. The interesting thing is, if you haven't noticed, we get a new message trace. And those people that remember Exchange 2010 or 2013, the old message trace was much more sophisticated, in my opinion. But however, that's live. Now we get the new message trace. But and this morning I said, okay, let's have a look. Yeah, and I'm wondering, so what's new here? Yeah, it's a little bit some more areas to select from. Yeah, so if I have a look, okay, let's have recipients, and of course the drop-down field, and I get the delivery status here. So I can say, okay, let's put it on failed and click on search and see what we have. Remember, the default goes back 5 days or 7 days. Yeah. Oh, and we get one and it says failed. And the interesting here now, remember, this is the admin center. So the MDO sent us to the admin center. Now we open a mail in the admin center and we can see the messaging events. And these are the traditional events, yeah, that we of course get. Yeah, and that's the key. Okay, we received it, we see its TLS, yeah, and then we see the drop of the message transport agent, message delivery transport agent. It says content filter agent, yeah. So the content filter agent deleted this message because it was spam confidence level 8, And you know, 8 means highly confident spam. On top, yeah, you can here copy, of course, the report text, prepare an email extended report. So you can create an email yourself, an extended record, go hunting, or you go and view this message in the Thread Explorer. So the Thread Explorer basically is accessed, of course, also here from MDO in email and collaboration and Explorer. So if you go in the Thread Explorer, you see I have all the tabs, malware, phish, campaigns. So that's all the tabs. And so I can investigate this message. Yeah. So let's say it says independent sale up to 50% off. So let's open that one. And you get the first overview of why it was decided that this is a spam message. You see it says spam high, and the original location was dropped by a fingerprint matching. Yeah, and you get additional features, information. The interesting thing is also DKIM, DMARC, SPF, and comp auth. And here we see additional information. So when we go into open email, that gives us even more information. And that's the real magic about the Thread Explorer. And of course, the real-time detections, because you also get it in there. Yeah. So here you get the analysis, and now I extended. You get the analysis, and in the analysis, it tells you why this was considered to be spam. Well, of course, obviously, it told us in the first space, but sometimes it's not so obvious and so clear. Yeah. Especially if there's areas like in grayish areas. Yeah. So if you don't really know why it's spam, then this is the place to look at. Of course, for this message is pretty obvious. Here on the upper right screen, yeah. By the way, here you can of course see the plain header. Yeah. Well, it's soft deleted now, but normally you see the header, and you can take action. Take action is a very powerful thing, because here you can then decide either you move or delete the message. So you can move it to junk mail inbox or soft delete, hard delete. So you can move or delete the message. You can submit to Microsoft for review, and that's the one of the most important things for your false positive emails. You need to submit them to Microsoft. Otherwise, there's no chance that Microsoft can improve their system. And KI is used in the system, so hopefully it's getting better and better. Yeah. So of course, here is your assumption, because not every admin is the same, and not every admin knows exactly if a spam mail is spam, or some people like spam, I heard. Yeah. But as I said, here you send it to Microsoft for investigation. And something more you can do is, and that's what I regularly do on areas where I want more information, is initiate automated investigation. So this is the next step of when you cannot find out what happened to that email. Yeah. So if the information that you took in the Thread Explorer and in the detail does not provide you with sufficient information, do an investigation of the email, and then you can do that. You can investigate that. And of course, you can do, for example, contact recipients, investigate senders, yeah, or propose remediation. But for this email, I don't need that, because I have an example of an investigation. So investigation, yeah, let me expand it again. So investigations is on the very top. So you run so when you start an investigation, it normally runs for 20 minutes. And you see this morning in my MVP tenant, basically I have two investigations, and you saw the first investigation ran for 40 minutes. That's quite a long time. But the other one ran for 18 minutes. And that's the interesting part that I wanted to show you. So the investigations dig deeper. and provide you with more information. And they provide you with a nice diagram, you see. Yeah. So here you see the evidence that we found 5 entities of evidence that this was what it's supposed to be. So it's a threat. Yeah. So when we click on alerts, we see the alert that triggered this investigation. Then the mailbox is involved, and if it's only one mailbox, well, it's my mailbox. But if there's more mailboxes involved, of course, then you see the combination, and that's of course called a campaign if multiple users are affected. Yeah, and here you see the evidence. So here you see why. Yeah. Why something was found as malicious. So the verdict is malicious, and you see prevented, so all alert. So when you look at the entity, you, for example, you see, okay, there's the subject. There is, yeah, and the P2 sender Gmail and the anti-spam direction and the content type. So you see basically the body fingerprint one and the P sender matched. Yeah, and all in combination are, of course, done for the system that defines when it is a malicious, or when it is a phish, or when it is a spam message. So if only one malicious item or evidence is detected, it's not considered spam yet. However, here we have 5, and 5, normally after 4, it's considered malicious. And of course, if you have multiple of those, then it's highly probable that it's phish or spam, as in this example. Yeah, and then we have the entities, and here you see, for example, the email clusters, and you see what happened, and you see the clusters. The clusters are the combination between, for example, the subject and the body, the subject and this domain, the sender, or the body and the content. Yeah. And you see email count, you see what malware, yeah, if it's considered malware, phish, or high confidence phish, or spam, and then you see it's blocked. Yeah, so here you really get the details, and the log is basically the step-by-step what the system did. So the step-by-step, and you see the duration, how long it took. So you see what MDO did in the background for you to investigate that email. That's quite a lot, isn't it? But it's really only for informational purposes. So once you have this or see what this email is about, of course, then you can take actions. But the actions, yeah, either you take actions in the Threat Explorer, or you go into what we call advanced hunting. Yeah, so let's go into advanced hunting. So advanced hunting, as I said, is a Microsoft Defender M2 tool to dig very deeply into your system. Yeah, it's based on queries. Yeah, so it's a query-based threat hunting tool, and as it provides near real-time information, you only can explore up to 30 days of raw data. But the raw data is really raw data. Yeah. So depending if you run in Intune with your clients, for example, all the data is uploaded to the Microsoft 365 databases, and you can use advanced hunting to explore it, to get more data around it, and to react, of course, on that. Yeah. So you can proactively inspect events in your network. Yeah. And what's new, by the way, that's new to last year, now you can provide community queries. So community queries in advanced hunting allow you to share your queries with your fellow people. Yeah. Interesting, advanced hunting supports 2 modes. The one is the guided mode, query in builder. The other one is the advanced mode, query in editor. And that uses the KQL language in order so you can investigate and create your own scripts. Yeah. And as I said, advanced hunting requires a Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2 or A5, E5, F5, or G5 security license. Well, G5 security license, but license in general. Yeah. So without that, you cannot you don't get the advanced hunting option, and you cannot investigate. So let's spend a little bit on the advanced hunting. Yeah. So as I said, advanced hunting is, let's close this. You see there's a lot of open things that I have. Oh, that was Exchange Admin Center. So here we go. Yeah, advanced hunting is not part of email collaboration, but it's part of MDO because it covers everything. It's a common tool. Yeah, it's covering all the areas of Microsoft Defender and Microsoft Office 365. And when you open it, yeah, you see, for example, you see advanced hunting, and then depending what you have, what you did in last time, it opens the last query. But for now, let me show you the two editors. So query in editor is the light version for the starters, and query in builder is the KQL language. Yeah. So when I no, the other way around. Yeah, the query. So the builder is building you the query. Yeah, and the query, of course, you do it directly. So when you go in the builder, of course, you get like all the stuff here. Yeah, so you can search here properties that you want to search for. For the sake of this purpose, I decided for the delivery location. The delivery location of your email, and it can be inbox, of course, but the interesting are failed or dropped. So let's have a look. Yeah. So if we do that, the important is by default it goes back 7 days. Yeah, but you can configure up to 30 days. Remember, 30 days is the limit. You cannot go any way beyond that. That's interesting because I did that demo several times, and it seems that the system MDO gets better and better. It's really hard. It's getting harder and harder for me to find appropriate messages that enter the system that we can investigate in MDO. And over the last 3 years, I did this session. Yeah, so I tell you, we're on a better way. Yeah. So failed or dropped, and on the bottom you of course see the results then. Yeah. So here you see the results of the messages, and in the form of the message, you of course you can decide. So, and if you want to investigate a message, you just click on that message, and voila, Thread Explorer opens. And the same way as we saw before, we can investigate. We can open Thread Explorer Advanced and have a look. Yeah, and do an analysis what we can do and what we can show. Yeah, so this is the query. Yeah, what's also new is the communities aspect. So on the left hand side you see schema. Yeah, but you also have queries. Yeah, and when you show in the queries, if you go down, you see the community queries. So yeah, it's a little bit hidden. I totally agree. Yeah. So schema, queries, and detection rules should be the tabs, but it's the size of my screen. Normally you see it. So in the queries, you have community queries. And these community queries are community shared queries, or you're testing. Yeah. So basically, you see all the ASR rules and delivery. Yeah. And what we can show, for example, there's email queries. Yeah, so email queries, let's have a look at that, because we are talking about email in this session. Yeah, and here we can go, for example, okay, hunting or fish. Oh, let's do fish. Yeah, and now possible Teams phishing activities or possible device code fish. Oh, let's have a look. So with a double click, it loads the KQL language, and I can run it. Yeah. So let's check if thank God there's no phishing activity in my tenant. Yeah. You see, that's pretty cool. So another one is top attacks. Okay, top attacks. And then let's see the top 10 URL domains. Voila. And you see it's creating the KQL script. Email where threads. Yeah. And then you can run it, and it runs against your system. And you see it's nicely formatted because it also got a chart type, yeah? And that's interesting. So so you see the top domains, yeah, that are attacking my organization, and that's TG, yeah. So these kind of reports, of course, by using, for example, a detection rule, you can automate and send yourself the information on a daily basis, for example. Yeah. So we talked about SAP, zero hour auto purge. Yeah. And here you have a couple of SAP. So we can, for example, we can do the total SAP auto count. Yeah. So let's run the query. So we have 8 SAP in that space. Yeah. So 8 SAP in the last 30 days. So if I remove the account, I get the information, what messages have been zapped. You see all fish zap. Yeah. And if I open that, of course, I can go to Thread Explorer and take a look. Yeah. Take a look at the message, take a look why this was considered fish and why zap took action. Yeah. So the interesting on the zap is, of course, the email did enter the system at some point in time. So here you see on June 20th, that was almost a month ago, the email entered the system and was delivered to the mailbox, to junk mail first. It was at 2:18. But half an hour later, zap kicked in and moved it to quarantine because it was fish, which is interesting. So it moved it away from the area of where your users can access to an area where they really must to make sure that they can do it. Yeah. So you see, it's very useful to use those kind of community KQLs, yeah, or queries, yeah, and you even have fun queries if you want to look at that, yeah. Emoji, emoji hunt. So emoji hunt, basically, you look for messages that are emoji hunts, yeah. So there. So let's see if we have one. No, yeah, we don't. Okay. So that's for the queries. So when we go into the query builder, yeah. So the query builder, yeah, query in editor. Yeah, so when we create a new query, on the left-hand side we have the schema, and the schema allows us basically to do drag and drop. Yeah, so email events, then we can have, okay, what event? Yeah, so here I can dig down, but I pre-created a couple of examples for you to show you the power of it. Yeah. So first of all is this summarizes the sender. And by the way, all the KQL's examples I added to the slide deck, so you have that if you want. So run the query. So that's basically only counting the sender mail from domains in the last, let's say, 30 days. Yeah. So and then I get the response. You see, it's a list right now, and the great thing is I can change it to a pie chart, for example. So now I have a pie chart. Yeah, and I see exactly the top sender is MS Tech discussions because I'm MVP. I get a lot of MS Tech. Yeah, the second one is Office 365 IT Pros. Yeah, and Microsoft, of course. Yeah, so this is my domain, of course, and you see I get a lot of bounce from Nautica.com. That's weird. 2.8%. I have to investigate. Yeah, or in this drill app, whatever it means. Yeah, so it allows you to create a nice chart. Yeah, very easily, yeah, and provide it to your managers, for example. So another query that I find very useful is the sending IP domains. So who's sending to your domain from what IP? Yeah, and if it's malicious. So here you see a nice pie chart. This is not a pie chart. Yeah, a nice column chart, and it lists the top 10 of top 10 count of IP addresses that are sent to my system, so I can investigate if that's the good guys. Yeah. I can, for example, also search email content. So I can search within the email file types, for example. So let's take a look. File types, doc, Excel, or PowerPoint. Well, these are the old ones. Yeah, remember the old file types. I hope we don't, because nowadays they are mainly viruses or phishing messages. Yeah, but you see nothing is found, so that's good. But let's see if it works. So if I take PPTX, oh, I find something, and oh, it's the ICCS presentation that I got sent yesterday. Yeah. So if I remove the summarize, yeah, I also see yeah, I see the details, and I can, for example, investigate here. Yeah. So investigate or move the mail. I can do actions on that. Yeah, the actions is a create detection rule, but I will come to this later. Yeah. So other areas is like the comp out fail, which is very interesting because comp out fail, comp out is an attribute by Microsoft, implemented by Microsoft to verify the let's say the trustworthiness of DKIM, DMARC, and SPF records. Yeah. So comp off fail basically means that the combination of DKIM, DMARC, and SPF did not correctly match or did not want to go ahead. Yeah. So comp out fail basically means it's a message that pretends to be somebody from somebody that is not the real sender. Yeah. So investigate those kind of messages is very interesting, especially if you look for false positive or false negative. Yeah. So you see those kind, like, okay, failed and blocked is okay, but junk mail folder, well, maybe that sender, maybe that email should be blocked for some reason. So when you look on this on a daily basis or maybe in a weekly basis, you really can improve your system. Yeah. Of course, you can take action. Yeah, and then of course you can say, okay, I want to add this to the allow list or to the block list, and or make sure it's sent to quarantine. Yeah. So another interesting thing is basically the Amazon SES problem that I call. Amazon SES allows your users to send email on behalf of a domain by only registering one email address out of that context. However, this is the query that allows you to find those kind of emails. So if your users basically send using Amazon SES email sending service, the problem basically is that, of course, DKIM and DMARC does not work here, because it's fail, and in order to find those kind of messages, you can use this KQL script, and of course create detection rules. So creating detection rules, well, for creating detection rules, we need some certain logic here, So creating a detection rule basically allows you to create an automatic rule that runs, for example, every hour or every day with a KQL script and does a certain action. So for example, you will be sent an email notifying that something happened, or you get a list or whatever. And that's the action and the magic behind advanced hunting. So this brings me back to my session and back to the end, and I wanted to share a couple of resources with you. For example, the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 blog. That's awesome, and the KQL language learning website. And this slide includes the KQL queries that I used in this session. Feel free to use them or just send me an email. Feel free to connect me on LinkedIn. Send me a chat. I send you the KQL scripts or queries. And by that, I say thank you for everybody. Thank you to the sponsors. Pentara and Microsoft, it's awesome to be speaking at this conference. Yeah, my name is Siegfried Jagot, and as I said, if you want to know something, just let me know and contact me via LinkedIn. Thank you.